between classes, rehearsals, performances, relationships, and drugs. I got it that I could act. I would be tragic, and audiences would cry. I'd be comic, and audiences would laugh. But none of that tragedy was mine. None of the humor came from inside me. I didn't know what was important to say or what was worth performing. As an actor and director, I felt I was someone who could interpret others' voices, but that I had no voice of my own. In their song America, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel sang, "Kathy, I'm lost," I said, though I knew she was sleeping. "I'm empty and aching, and I don't know why. Counting the cars on the New Jersey Turnpike, they've all come to look for America." 1985. I had just begun living part-time as a woman. The Church of Scientology, IBM, and the tatters of my third and final marriage were behind me. I drove up from Philadelphia to New York to see Charles Ludlam perform The Mystery of Irma Vep. I was expecting a simple drag performance. Instead, Ludlam transformed his gender on stage from male to something not exactly female, but transformed nonetheless. Ludlam incorporated elements of naturalism in his work, as well as elements of physical comedy. The result was fluid, highlighting the best of both naturalistic and magical elements. Ludlam's multi-gendered life reverberated throughout his work. He performed from behind a fourth wall, regularly peeking out and acknowledging the presence of the audience. In 1986, just after my genital surgery, I directed a production of Jane Chambers' Last Summer at Bluefish Cove for the Philadelphia-based feminist theater company Order Before Midnight. This is when I found out that some art offends some people. Our production of Bluefish Cove was the Philadelphia premiere of the play, but the Philadelphia Inquirer and other mainstream, that is, non-lesbian or gay papers, refused to review us. Additionally, some women from the local lesbian separatist community boycotted us on the grounds that I was involved with the production. It was the first time I experienced what was to become a recurring alliance against transgender people. The conservative elements of both heterosexual and lesbian politics could find a common ground in decrying a transgender life and a transgender art. Chambers' style was wonderfully corny and steeped in the Aristotelian model: storyline, characters who go through conflict, and a resolution. It was a portrait of lesbians, written by a lesbian, using what had previously been used to portray only a heterosexual model. The style of the piece is almost television sitcom, a style more accustomed to bashing gays than singing their praises. Chambers appropriated elements of an oppressor's art, putting them to use in the portrayal of a minority point of view. And by doing that, she was able to communicate to folks who were accustomed only to a straight naturalistic format. She didn't have to reinvent the wheel. She was free to use it in ways the wheel makers never dreamt of. By seeing non-conventional people acting within a conventional model, the audience learns that lesbians are real people. Traditional form permits an audience to experience non-traditional content in relative safety. The next component of my queer theater came from a production of Upwardly Mobile Home, written and performed by Split Britches, a feminist theater company from New York. Like Ludlam, Split Britches members Lois Weaver, Peggy Shaw, and Deborah Margolin shifted the form of their theater so that the form itself emulated a queer life. Instead of a linear storyline, there were many stories woven together, each beginning and ending at different times, and instead of conflict and resolution, there was transformation. Lois Weaver, in conversation with me in 1989, said, "In our work, we try to build in as many layers as we can because reality isn't simple. Reality isn't just one storyline. In that sense, it's possible for people to enter